Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Next Move Group We Are Jobs podcast. This is Chad Chancellor, co-founder of Next Move Group, and we are back after, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. I guess it's 2 years. We are back with our podcast shows. A little different now. We're going to also put these on YouTube in addition to being on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all of that. And I'm happy to have with us today Allie Watson, who is our Executive VP of Client Success. For this first show that we're back, we're going to introduce you to Allie, get her out there and welcome her. She's been with us now over a year, but we hadn't done one of these. So welcome, Allie.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited that we've ramping this back up and to be a part of it. So
Allie's based up in Nashville, Tennessee, and I will be doing the majority of our shows like I always did, but she may stand in once in a blue moon and so forth. So to start our show back, because we have not done one in about 2 years, and we'll get into that, Allie is going to sort of interview me and ask me why we're starting back now, which I have some opinions on what we've been up to and so forth. So, Allie, I'll let you take over.
yeah, so you kind of led into my first question. I obviously wasn't around in the original podcast days, so why are we starting the podcast back up now?
So we started these, I think, at our 2017 Mardi Gras event. So we were doing podcasts in 2017. We were doing them when nobody else was. Now you see a bunch of podcasts. As a matter of fact, I was on one last week that I'm excited to come out, Joe Barker's. I'm excited for it to come out next week. But we kind of started these, years ago and did one a week every Thursday, pretty much for 5 years, I guess it was. My nephew got sick and passed away of a rare cancer in 2023. Yeah, 2023. He got sick in March and died in August. Then during that time, the one good thing about being entrepreneurs, you can kind of control your schedule. And so during that time, I took a whole lot of time off and didn't work a lot. Just kind of stepped away from the business and just frankly got out of the routine. Now, all this time we've been doing shows, video shows for our movement members, one a week. Every Tuesday we do one. But we stopped the free podcast that we were doing simply because of that. Why now? 2 years later, a lot of stuff has changed in the economic development industry. When I got in it in 2004, it was all, let's go recruit manufacturing. And now you're seeing a lot of community development needs, housing, childcare, senior living, so on and so forth. And so we've kind of grown our business into that. So that's one of the reasons now is we're not just going to talk about manufacturing every week, because I've seen a change in the business in the last 2 years. And then two, I've been through a lot of loss. My best friend's wife just also died of cancer. She was only 40 years old. So I've been through a lot of loss. And I've had a lot of people say they miss seeing these or hearing the shows. They weren't seeing them, but hearing them. And so might as well come back and give them what they want. So those are the reasons that we are coming back now. We used to do these every Thursday. I don't know that I'm going to do them every Thursday. We'll see. I mean, I've got a very exciting one I want to do next week. So, but we'll see if we get back into that routine or not, because I still do one of these every week for our members. And so we don't ever want to give away more to anybody else than they can get, but we'll get ourselves back in the routine.
I guess for the new listeners, if you want to just tell us how you did get started in economic development.
Well, believe it or not, the economic developer in my small town. Well, first of all, my dad, when I was a kid, lost his job as a manufacturing plant. A blanket factory got shipped overseas. He lost his job in a little southern Mississippi, and the whole town, 600 people lost their job basically overnight. He was one of 10 kids. Several of them worked at that plant. And so I saw what happened when I was a kid when these manufacturing plants would up and leave. I saw what happened. And I was in a leadership program, a youth leadership program that the economic development put out in my hometown. And many people listen to this will have these programs. Basically, 1 week you'll go to the sheriff's office and learn what they do. 1 week you'll go to one of the industries or whatever. Well, one of the weeks was learning about economic development. And I kind of got interested in it because of what had happened when my dad lost his job. And we sent all our jobs overseas. Interestingly, a side note, my dad worked in a blanket factory and my grandmother worked in a glove factory, both of which we sent these jobs overseas. When COVID hit, the first night of COVID, the governor of New York, Cuomo was his name. I don't know if you remember watching the news. He got on television and he said, our big crisis is we can't find enough gloves and gowns for our nurses. Do you remember that, Allie?
I do.
He did, and it washed over me. These are the very plants in our little towns we run off that we sent overseas. And here we were, the governor of New York couldn't get blankets and gloves. And that's the very plants my father and grandmother worked in. So it hit me right then. You know, the big city, everybody talks red versus blue, Republican, Democrat. It takes all of us. The big cities need the small towns and vice versa. But anyway, I got interested in that leadership program, but I really didn't know how to do economic development. So I went to college, and I guess when I was a senior, the economic developer in my hometown was tragically killed. He was running, his mother's house caught on fire, and he was running across the road to get to the house, and one of the police cars coming through ran him over. You know, he didn't look, and the police car was going fast, and you know, you wouldn't look either if your mother's house was a unit. He was just running over there and got killed on the spot. And he was a wealthy man, so he didn't do it for much money. He kind of did it, you know, just to help the town. And so anyway, after he passed, I told somebody I'd be interested in that, though I had no idea how to do it, you know, from that leadership program. But it was a small town. They wasn't going to pay like $30,000. Next thing I know, they hired me. And that's how I got into economic development and did not know one thing what I was doing. It didn't have a lot of internet sites back then. I went to the library at Mississippi State University and checked out some books on it. But fortunate thing happened to me. I was running that organization, even though I was making like $30,000. I was still, you know, the executive director. Therefore, I got to go to all the state events with the other executive directors and CEOs and got to meet some real fine people who mentored me and helped me along my way. But that's how I got my start. A literal tragedy. Wasn't for that, you would have never met me. I don't know what I'd be doing, but you'd have never met me.
Well, and kind of to talk a little bit more about that, from that point, you advanced pretty rapidly and throughout the economic development ranks. So what did that kind of progression look like for you?
Well, I was there a year, and Robert and Ingram, who he's a great economic developer. Everybody knows him in the South. He called me one day and he said, Chad, he said, you have got the passion, which I do, because I think about how do we get jobs for people like my father. I mean, I still think about that to this day. I don't do this for the money, so to speak. I do it for that. But he called and said, you got the passion, but you don't know what you're doing. He told me that flat out, and he was right. Of course, I wouldn't have admitted it to him. He was right. He said, I think if you get to an organization that sees a lot of projects and knows what they're doing, you'll make something of yourself. He said, the Mobile, Alabama Chamber is hiring a project manager, and it's only going to be like $40,000. And I think you need to go down there and talk to them. And if they offer to you, take it, because I think if you ever really learn the business, you're going to turn it into something. Because I see the passion in you I don't see in a lot of others, what he said. And I didn't really want to take the job because I was the boss where I was, you know, but what few perks I had, though I only made $30,000. But going to Mobile, I was going to be the low man on the totem pole out of like 40 people. But anyway, I went and interviewed with them. They offered me the job. No, I wasn't going to take it. And I wasn't going to take it. And finally, I did take it. Joshua Thornton, who was a good friend of mine, he now works with TVA and economic development. He's the man taught me into taking it. And I was not going to take it. He taught me in it. He said, Chad, if you go there, you're just going to have, you're going to see so much more stuff. And sure enough, I got there, and I was the most junior project manager there was. And but we were recruiting a steel mill, and the main project manager got pregnant, so she had maternity leave. She had to leave, which kind of put me into working, you know, from 6 a.m. till midnight, and Saturdays and Sundays. I mean, I distinctly remember an NFL Sunday having to go out and take the CEO of the company out on a boat and all this kind of stuff. But anyway, we ended up landing that project, and I just kind of got to watch how it all worked. I was the grunt worker. I mean, I was the guy that went out to the sites and flagged it so they could see from the helicopter where the property lines were on a 3,000 acre site. Not as easy as it sounds, but I got to see a big project and sit in every meeting and listen at it, and something clicked with me. And so then, but like I said, I was making like $40,000. I interviewed for a job that I did not get hired at. I still wanted to be the boss, see, because I started out that way. So once you start out being a boss, you kind of want to be it. So I still kind of want to be the boss. So when an opportunity would come up, I would interview for it. And I interviewed for a job I did not get. But the headhunter liked me. He called me one day. He said, Chad, Lawrenceburg, Tennessee is wanting a young up-and-comer. I think if you go interview for that job, you'll get it. And he said, I think it's going to pay, 75,000 or something. I was making 40. So I looked, and Lawrenceburg's just north of Muscle Shoals, Alabama. So not that far away. So I went and interviewed, and I won't ever forget. It was cold. It was Thanksgiving week. It was like the Monday of Thanksgiving week. Cold and gray in Lawrenceburg. Back then, Lawrenceburg was hard to get to. Now they got 4-lane roads going everywhere. It's easy to get to now. I love the people. I mean, the board that interviewed me, I loved it ever what up. And I mean, you could sit and talk with them, economic development or football or anything. But it was so cold and dreary. So I was driving home, and I had done made up my mind I didn't want the job. And this was in 2007. You know, I got about to Huntsville, Alabama, that exit, and the headhunter called me, and he said, "Chad, it's you now." All right. And I said, "Well, I just don't think I want it." Loved the people, but it was cold. I'm used to living in Mobile on the Gulf. And he said, "Well, what would it take?" I knew they were offering it for 75. He said, "What would it take for you to take the job?" And without even thinking, I said 100,000. Now remember, I'm like 26, making 40, so that's a lot of money to me. In 2007, 100,000 is a lot of money. I should have said 200, I reckon, because he said hired. He said hired right on the spot. And boy, I was hired. I didn't even know what I had done. I just literally said. So off I went to Lawrenceburg, and a great thing happened to me. I was there in 2008 and 9 in the recession. If you remember, that's when the economy tanked. And TVA kind of took me under their wing. I was one of some young developers they put together to kind of teach the business. I already very much knew the blocking and tackling from what I learned in Mobile. And but I was able to kind of promote Lawrenceburg as the cost-effective option to Nashville. It's an hour and a half to Nashville. It's rural, good workforce, and we had 2 or 3 good expansions, 2 or 3 new industry. And the next thing I know, Paducah, Kentucky hired me, and it was kind of the same fact. I went up there and didn't really want the job, and here again they called and said, "Well, what's it going to take?" And I guess I said 200. Looking back, I should have said 400, I reckon. And they said, "Deal, you got it." And then for long, I was making like 250. So when I left the economic development in Paducah, that was in 2014. I was around 250,000, and to start my own company with Alex Metzger. And I will never forget, I called my mother to tell her I'm quitting my job. I was raised in a blue collar family. We didn't know we were poor, but we were. But she almost passed out when I quit a $250,000 job to start my own company. But every job I took, I really didn't take for the money, because I honestly left money on the table because I didn't stay a high enough number. But being the boss right out of the bat made me want to be the boss again and kind of develop my leadership skills. So I was always looking for that along the way.
Well, now throughout that progression, I mean, you've been in the economic development world for 20 plus years, and 11 of those being an entrepreneur owning your own firm with Alex. What makes you tick these days? What makes you stay in it?
I still get motivated by helping the blue collar family people like my father to get a job. That motivates me very much. So I would say now that used to be 90% of my motivation. I mean, that's what got me going. Now I would say that's 60%. 40% is kind of defending the economic development profession, because I see it sometimes come under attack. You watch, especially as the better the economy gets, they'll start being articles. Oh, giving away too many incentives. What are those economic development people doing? Fly to Paris to go to the air show, all this stuff. And so I'm very interested in defending our profession. I find it a very difficult profession because of the turnover in board people and in elected officials. We do a lot of border trainings now, and I was watching CNBC one day. I'm always watching the stocks, and Warren Buffett come on there, and they said, "Warren, what's been the key to all your success?" And he said something along the lines of continuity. See, it was he and Charlie, 50 years or more, that ran Berkshire Hathaway. Can you imagine if every year they just elected a new chairman just because it happened to be January the 1st? I can't think of a stupider thing possible. Well, that's what we do in economic development. And so I think it's very difficult because you've got so many moving parts with various new board members, various new elected officials. And so what probably 40% of what makes me tick now is defending the profession and helping the profession grow. within that, I'm very excited was what we're doing with our public works division of our company. When I was an economic developer, I found that I could only be successful if I had good, solid public works people helping me. Whether it was the city engineer, whether it was the electric company, the water department, the sewer department, and I was very fortunate. Everywhere I went, I had good people in those positions. And but I've seen some people that don't. And so one of the things that we're doing now is growing our executive searches into those roles. Because I'm telling you, I don't care if you're the best economic developer there is. If you don't have people who are pro development in their thinking, now that don't mean they run out and give the farm away. But some people are anti development. They're getting if you don't have folks that at least want to try to make something happen in your various city departments, your water, your sewer, your electric, then you are fighting an uphill battle. And so that part of our business is really growing, and that excites me. That makes me tick too, because I think it all goes hand in hand. I think it helps the economic developer. So 60% is people like my dad, the blue collar workers needing a job, and 40% are helping economic developers be successful because it is a very difficult job. And so if we can help them improve their quality of lives, then that suits me.
Another thing that makes you tick that we're gonna kinda move into that I know is exciting for you every year, but especially our company coming up. So, obviously, we have our Mardi Gras conference coming up. Um, it's really coming together, looking exciting. I'm excited that we are, like you said earlier, gonna have more of that kinda, like, community development topics and speakers there just because it is all blending. So, um, why do you love Mardi Gras so much, and what kind of was the idea behind throwing a conference around Marty?
That's a big question too. Remind me of the second one because I'll forget. Why do I love Mardi Gras? I love Mardi Gras because all walks of life enjoy it. It's the biggest free party in the whole world. If you want it to be free. Now, if you want to go spend a bunch of money and go to Mardi Gras balls, you can do that too. But if you go to Mardi Gras and you just look down on the street, I mean, you will see all walks of life, races, whatever, kids, elderly, all having a ball. Standing there watching the floats come by, trying to catch something, listening to the marching bands. I've never been to anything that I think ties together every social class, every walk of life like Mardi Gras. New Orleans is that way to a certain extent. I'll never forget the night the Saints won to go to the Super Bowl in I guess it was 2009. And we beat the Vikings to go to the Super Bowl. And where I happened to sit in the Superdome, behind me, one of the gentlemen was a chemical engineer. Another one was a firefighter from Baton Rouge. Sitting next to him was a lawyer. And when that field goal went through that uprights that sent the Saints to the Super Bowl, I mean, we tackled each other, hugging, crying. It was a massive humanity, a celebration, and it did not matter if you were blue collar, white collar, what color you were, what sexuality you, it did not matter. And that's kind of how New Orleans is. And Mardi Gras takes that to a certain extent. So I love it from that perspective. Also, it is basically, a week. Mardi Gras lasts longer than a week, but the main portion is it's kind of a week that you can forget your normal self. All your worries go away. You don't worry about your job, which we have in our conference, but you get to all this stuff, and so that's why I love Mardi Gras because it really is it brings everybody together, and New Orleans is a tight town that people want to be together. That's why COVID, I think, hurt New Orleans so bad. New Orleans people, they hug, they fellowship, they eat together, and then COVID hit, you couldn't do any of that. And so I think the Mardi Gras since COVID have almost been even more special, if that makes any sense. As to our conference, when I worked for the Mobile Chamber, so Mobile claims they had the first Mardi Gras, and I think they're right, but that makes the people in New Orleans mad. So whoever's watching this, we're not trying to make anybody mad. But when I worked at the Mobile Chamber in Mobile, Bill Sisson was my boss, had an idea to bring in some of the top site selectors for a Mardi Gras parade, like the week before Mardi Gras. And so we did, and I believe John Sisson came, who ended up working with us later. I think D.D. Caldwell might have come. I can't remember who came, but we took them, these site selectors, 5 or 6 of them. We toured them through Mobile to show them sites and all, and we showed them a Mardi Gras parade and went to a ball that night. And they had a great time. Well, as we're building our business in New Orleans, St. Louis also celebrates Mardi Gras. See, when we started, I was in New Orleans. Alex was in St. Louis. And St. Louis has a big Mardi Gras. Nothing like New Orleans, but they have a big Mardi Gras on this Saturday before Mardi Gras. So I don't know. The idea hit me. I said, let's have a Mardi Gras economic development something in New Orleans. And Alex said, but we need to do it far enough out from Mardi Gras Day because it gets crazy and get cost too much to get a hotel and all that. So we did it 5 days before Mardi Gras Day. First time we did it, it was not a formal conference. We rented a bar and said we're going to have various economic development consultants there to talk to you. It was just that simple. And about 30 or 40 people showed up. Well, we probably lost money on it, but it was still, we thought it would grow our brand. So then we decided to do it every 2 years. Next time we did it, we kind of had a conference. And we actually rented a hotel conference space, and we had about 100 people show up, but we still didn't full court press it, And then after the second one, when 100 people showed up, I saw this could really make something. So then we full court pressed and started doing it every 2 years, and now we'll have 200 to 300 people show up, and it has turned into a real, I guess big is the wrong word. We can only fit 300 where our hotel is because we watch a parade, and that's just all you can fit. But it's turned into a heck of a conference with people from all across we got people signed up from Alaska to California to Florida and all parts in between. But I got the idea from Mobile. I went and met with Grady Fitzpatrick, who at the time, and Willie still is, the number 2 person at GNO Inc., which is the Regional Economic Development Organization in New Orleans. And I said, Grady, I want to have this conference. This was when I was doing, I guess, the second one. The first real conference, And I said, I want to have it the Thursday before Mardi Gras because there's a big parade that night. I said, can you introduce me to the Hotel Convention Visitors Bureau people or whoever to help me find a location? He said, Chad, I'm happy to do it. And I'm happy to participate in it. But have you lost your minds? I said, what do you mean? He said, you going to have a conference in Mardi Gras? He said, getting people in and out. I said, yes, I'm going to have it. That's what I'm going to do. And all these years later, it's turned into really some successful thing. I would say we've done several things in our business that catapulted us, that grew us exponentially. One was starting a podcast. So you might say, why in the world did you quit it? Well, I told you that. I went through a lot of loss and getting my feet back under me now. That was one. But having a Mardi Gras event was the other because we had people come from all across the country and it just kind of grew us. You would have thought, well, this would be Southeast people. No, it'll be people there from Wyoming. And so it just kind of grew us and grew our brand, and it's really helped us tremendously. So now it's like a monster we've created. We can't stop because we only do it every 2 years. And the year we don't do it, I have people emailing me all year, are y'all doing the Mardi Gras this year? And the answer is no. So we've created a monster.
Well, I know the parts of it that are exciting for me. One, just for this to be my first to attend, being a part of the Next Move group, but some of the topics, everything from childcare to the cyber insurance and everything that we've been kind of putting an agenda towards. What would you say you're most excited about for the conference?
Well, we've always gotten rave reviews from our attendees. We move it fast. We do a lot of 30 to 45-minute sessions. Boom, 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 boom. And because I don't want to go to a conference and hear the same thing for 2 hours. And so we've always done that, and people say that they like it. But we've always had a real emphasis on manufacturing, marketing, because those are my passion. And this year we've got additional space from the hotel we've secured. So we've got room for breakout rooms. So we're going to get into a whole lot of more community development stuff, that child care topics, which I think is going to be our YouTube podcast next week. We've got a guy out of Minnesota. His company helps communities solve the child care problem. We're going to have housing topics and others. And so all the normal topics I'm excited about. I wouldn't say I'm excited about the cyber crime one, but that's one reason to come. We got cyber rod last year, our company, of $127,000. These people would send fake invoices around. And economic development organizations are getting hit with them, as are cities and counties. There was a city in Mississippi that sent $700,000 to the wrong person because somebody sent a pretend invoice claiming they were a road contractor. And I'm seeing this left and right. Now, we had cyber insurance, so we got a lot of our money back, but it was a headache. It was a hassle. It took months. So I'm telling you right now, I don't get excited about having a cybersecurity session, but that may be the most I would come just for that. After what we went through, one of our members last week called me and said she almost got robbed of 100,000 through one of these fake invoices. And luckily, at the last minute, the CFO person realized something doesn't smell right. At the very last minute, she said she was getting ready to put it in. So, but one thing I'm excited about, and it hasn't all come together yet, we're working on January the 1st, I woke up this year and rolled over in the bed, looked at my phone. In my hometown of Mississippi of 900 people, 3 people had been shot and killed at the gas station. Come to find out, we didn't know it then, but months later, by the star quarterback on our state championship football team. He got himself into drugs years later. I mean, he was the star quarterback in like 2004. But either way, I mean, this is somebody who had every opportunity to kill 3 people in my little hometown. And then I get rid of that text message. And the next one is, a lot of people have been run over in New Orleans by a terrorist attack. So my little hometown of 900 and my adopted hometown of New Orleans, I wouldn't have been safe in either one. I mean, I could have been in either one of those locations. And so one of the things we're going to have a session on is what is our role in economic development, in crime, and all of that. Do we have a role? And David Rumbarger and I are going to put together a panel, and I've got some other people in mind that we want to do. David Rumbarger is the CEO of the Community Development Foundation in Tupelo, and he's got some great ideas. And I don't know what the answer is, but I do know that as people get better paying jobs with benefits and so forth, they're less likely to get themselves in trouble. Like the terrorist in New Orleans seemed like he had lost his job. So he had mental issues and he was unemployed. And so I think there may be something that our profession can do when it comes to that. In New Orleans, crime was going down until this terrorist attack. And then this guy came in from Houston or somewhere. He was not from New Orleans. And so anyway, I don't know if excited is the right word, but it was profound that I woke up and both of my little towns had murders, and so I'm not excited, but I'm interested in how that session turns out, and if we can all decide that we have a role to play when it comes to public safety and crime and all of that kind of stuff.
Obviously, Mardi Gras, you even said so yourself, New Orleans is kind of your adopted hometown. What makes you love New Orleans so much? I'm being a foodie, I love the food, and being into music, but I've never lived there like you. So what makes you have such a passion for New Orleans?
The food, obviously, what you said, the music, you can never be bored in New Orleans. I mean, there's always something to do, but I loved it as a boy. When I was a boy, I was raised in rural Mississippi, in a Baptist family where, you don't drink, you don't do any of that. And my uncle worked for Halliburton. He has since passed away. My dad was one of 10. They've all died. My dad's the last one. He now has late stage Alzheimer's. My mother's family, her brother died at age 52 or something. Fell over dead with a heart attack while he was out raking leaves. We've had a lot of loss in my family. And over time, that will change you. It really will. And so that's one of the reasons I'm saying we're bringing this back. I've got my feet back under me now, and let's bring it back. But when I was a boy, we would do 2 vacations a year. We would usually go to Six Flags in the summer, which I enjoyed. And then we would go to New Orleans Saints games in the fall. My uncle worked at Halliburton, and he must have been good at what he did, because every year Halliburton would give him, 6 or 7 tickets to one Saints game as a reward for whatever he had done, and he would carry us. And so as a 9 or 10-year-old kid, we would go to New Orleans, and they would put us up in the hotel across from the Superdome, and we would go to the ball game. And as a 9 or 10-year-old kid raised in a little Baptist church where nobody drank, I mean, my eyes was just wide open. I was seeing all kinds of stuff. But again, I think even with Mardi Gras, I love the fact that you could look and not turn your head and see all walks of life. Rich, poor, you see it all. And the Saints do that. The Saints bring everybody together. I don't know if every football team's that way, but the Saints are in New Orleans. And so that was by far my favorite vacation every year. I love that more than I love going to the Six Flags. But those were the two things. We didn't go to the beach. We didn't go to the mountains. That's what we did. And so I kind of fell in love with New Orleans then. And then as I got older, one of my best friends in high school, his father had season tickets to the Saints. Right down on the second, he was on the second row. I mean, you could practically jump out there and catch a football. And so I got to go on with them, but I go to about a game a year and really enjoyed it. And then when I was in Mobile, Mobile's about 2 hours from New Orleans. Again, I was making like 40,000. But the Saints after Katrina, the Saints put all their tickets on for cheap. I'm talking about like $30 a ticket because after Katrina they were worried they wouldn't go have a ticket, and they drafted Reggie Bush and traded for Drew Brees all within a day or two. And even though I didn't make my 40,000, I got online and bought me season tickets to the Saints. And so I'd go over to every game. I'd stay over there. I'd drive home on Sunday to be back to Mobile for work, but kind of fell in love with the city. New Orleans is a type of place. If you love it, it'll love you back. I found when I moved there in 2014, people said it'll be hard to get in. All these people are, they'll know you're not a New Orleans person or whatever. I found that not to be true. Within about 6 months, you were in. I mean, New Orleans people, if they know that you love New Orleans, they'll love you back. And it was great for our business because New Orleans at the time, COVID hurt it a little, but it was on a track with Las Vegas, San Diego, Nashville's now getting it, where there was just conferences all the time. I mean, every time you turn around, there was a conference. And so it may be a manufacturing conference, economic development, but I would meet them. And so, that all made me love it. There's just not much about it I don't like. The food is one. But then we got real lucky. Alex and I went. New Orleans had the Entrepreneur Week where they brought in various speakers from around the country to help entrepreneurs. And Alex and I went to that in 2016, I think. I may be off a year, somewhere around there. And somehow we learned that Goldman Sachs was looking for 10,000 small businesses to take through an accelerator program to help them double their revenue. And anyway, we learned about it and talked with somebody there. Next thing you know, they accept us. And basically for 10 or 11 weeks, every Thursday in New Orleans, they would bring training people in. 1 week you'd be trained on marketing. 1 week you'd be trained on negotiating. 1 week on finance. All to grow your business, and it was free. If I had not lived in New Orleans, we wouldn't have done that. And that right there, we have probably tripled our business since we did it. And so without that, I don't know that you'd be sitting here today. I don't know that we'd ever hired you. We might not have had the revenue to. And that would absolutely not have happened if it was not for New Orleans. And so I just love everything about it. I really do. And I think it's got tremendous opportunity going forward, and it has exciting days ahead.
Well, we've referenced them a handful of times throughout this podcast. You and Alex obviously founded Next Move Group in 2014. We don't see him. The public doesn't, not we see him all the time, but the public doesn't see him as much as you. So I guess just kind of give an update. Is he still around? What's his role? What's going on with him?
Yeah, somebody asked me the other day, is Alex still around? We never see him. And so, yes, he is very much still around. And you didn't know this, but we used to do also, in addition to our podcast, we would do a little news show where we would get on every week and talk about, the industries that are going where and jobs and all. And Alex would do that. Said you did it with his son one time. So people got to see it. But no, he's still here. We still have the same ownership percentage we always had, just like the way we started. And if anything, I think that Alex is probably showing more leadership now, than even 5 or 6 years ago. He's running a lot more of the company now than 5 or 6 years ago. I'll tell you, with any relationship, we've been in business now 11 years. You're going to have ups and downs, they're going to be good days and bad, particularly in business. And so when we started out, we were very, very close, because we had worked together and produced good and all of this. And then there was probably a time where we drifted apart a little bit. We still worked good together, but, from a friendship, we wouldn't all talk every day. And, but when my nephew got sick and died, Alex really stepped up. He really did, and kind of did more, because I think he knew, and it wasn't just like my nephew died. It was a 5-month process, and he really stepped up and So he's doing a lot of that for us now. He's had the best ideas we ever had. Well, no, he didn't have the Mardi Gras idea, I did. But he had the movement membership idea. And that's really helped us tremendously. So that was a good idea. But he's still very much here behind the scenes, and Allie and I talk to him every day.
Yeah. So on a personal note, in the past podcast years ago, keto was very large in your life. You would do shows about it. So how's that coming along? Are you still sticking to that, or what's going on there?
People ask me this all the time. And yeah, so living in New Orleans, I put on the weight because you'd go have a gumbo and think, well, I'm having a soup. That's no telling how many carbohydrates and all you have. I got myself up to 270 pounds. And when COVID hit, I started feeling sluggish, just like walking upstairs as I was feeling sluggish. And found the keto diet on the YouTube and lost down to 215. So what's that? 55 pounds? I lost 55 pounds. Now I will tell you, I'm back to 240. I'm back to 240. So I've gained 25 pounds of it back. Several ways to look at it. I'm still down 30. My brother says that is still saved me several years of my life, but I've gained 25. And, I still try to do it. I'm doing it well. I do great when I'm by myself, when I'm home, but boy, when you're traveling, it is hard. And so what I found is, and the keto diet, for those that don't know, is basically low carbohydrates. You eat just as few carbohydrates as you can. Uh, but I do well when I'm here, but traveling's rough. And when you go to a business meeting, it's rough and all of that. But, I really gained some weight again when my nephew was dying. I remember we were in Houston. He wanted to go to a Five Guys hamburger the day he was diagnosed and told he wasn't going to make it. Well, I wasn't don't dare go there and eat a salad and him sitting there dying. So here I sit and eat 2 hamburgers and French fries and everything. So I probably gained 20 pounds just from that. And then I always gain weight at Mardi Gras because I'm not going to go to Mardi Gras and diet. I'm just not going to do that. And so I kind of fluctuate. The holidays I gain, then I lose back. Then the holidays I gain, then I lose back. But now I'm more convinced than ever the keto works and it's the right way to do it. But I will tell you this, if you lose as much as I lost, the minute you don't do keto, you will gain it back. Now, I've learned that. You will gain it back. But yeah, I'm still down 30 pounds from my high level. Who knows? Maybe doing these shows, having to look at myself every week, maybe that'll motivate me to get some more of it off.
Well, final question. Out of all the things that we have going on at Next Move Group and that we're doing, which handful are you most excited about right?
I touched on it earlier. Probably 2 things. One is, I sent to you the other day something that I found profound that Kevin O'Leary said. I was just Googling around. Kevin O'Leary, the guy that's on Shark Tank named Mental Wonderful. He was talking about the difference in being a consultant versus a creative type person. And it just hit me over the head. I enjoy creating products for our target markets, much more so than doing the actual consultant. We had a site selection project not long ago where we were having to do the consultants, so they nearly drove me crazy because they won't listen. And when you build a business as I've built, you're used to making decisions. Right or wrong, you're used to it. And so when you consult with people and they can listen to you or not, it can be very frustrating. So I enjoy creating stuff for our market. And so I've enjoyed creating these board training products. The Mardi Gras, that's something we created. I enjoy that. But right now, I think I'm enjoying creating the public works job search, the way we're doing it. I don't know that a lot of people are doing it the way we're doing it, because I do think that's going to help communities grow. See, I always go back to, well, let's help them grow and help somebody like my blue collar fair. Well, if you hire the right electric department person, energy is a big deal right now. Everywhere we added so many data centers. So if you get the right person running that, if you get water and sewer is always a big deal. If you get the right person running that, designing your roads, you're going to grow your town. And so I think what I'm really excited about is creating multiple other avenues to help economic developers other than just, let us do a strategic plan for it. We got 5 or 6 other ways we can help. In many ways, you don't have to pay us a penny. but we've sat there, we've been in your shoes, and I know how hard it is. So I think that's probably what I'm most excited about is creating multiple ways to help communities grow, however that is.
Well, that is all the questions that I'd come up with to grill you about on this first episode back. So thank you for taking the time. And next week we will be back with another show. And I think, Chad, you'll be spotlighting just kind of how communities can attack their lack of childcare problem. So if you want to just tell the listeners where to find us and preview that show a little bit for next week for them.
Yes, Allie found a company out of Minnesota. They focus on small to mid-sized towns, just like we do. And they actually come in and write a strategic plan and help you figure out how to solve your child care problem. So we have been selling child care studies where we can show you how many child care seats you're short. In other words, you need another 500. But we hadn't been telling you how to fix it. So we just tell you, here's how many you're short. This group tells you how to fix it, and it's not a one-size-fits-all. They come into the town and interview people and all. And I've been very impressed with them. They're going to speak at our Mardi Gras event. But I told him, I said, look, we're going to relaunch the podcast channel. Our listening out, we probably got a lot of brand new listeners now, but we got some been listening since 2017. They know that I love manufacturing. So I thought a good way to relaunch is to show other things, such as child care. Because you know why? If you don't have enough child care, you may not win that next manufacturing cup. It is absolutely a workforce issue. You don't have enough of it, you're going to have workforce problems. And so, yes, we're going to record that next week. Again, for our members, we do a show every Tuesday. Matter of fact, when I hang out with you, I'm doing our show today. Today's on how to take board meeting minute. I'd have never thought of that. One of our members asked me to do it. They said they got somebody that's struggling with just what all do I put in the minute. So I'm going to do. So we do everything from that, to child care. But that will be the one next week. And again, we've had success. We don't have a gun to our head now where we got to go land a deal. We're a little more picky now with the clients we take on. Since you've been here, you've seen us refuse a few, So I don't know that I'm going to do one every single Thursday. I'm going to give myself some breathing room. I don't want to burn out, now that we've started back 2 years later. But, maybe we'll try to put them out on a regular basis where you get them, and you'll be able to either see it on YouTube or on anywhere you get your podcasts. You'll be able to see them. And then, people can find us at nextmovegroup.com. You can go on there and see everything that we're up to, from executive search business to a lot of board training products and other things. And again, what Kevin O'Leary said spoke to me. So you're going to see us kind of purposely telling people over the coming months, we want to create products to help. We don't want to just be a consulting firm. There are other people that do all that, do a great job of it. We want to create products to help economic developers. So go to nextmovegroup.com. You'll be able to see some of those and other ones that we roll out.
All right. Well, Chad, have a good rest of your day, and we'll talk to everyone soon.
I guess the last thing I will say, because I don't know where that's going out, if somebody wants to come to our Mardi Gras event, we have a discount until July 29th. Let me say, is that next Tuesday? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can so go to nextmovegroup.com, and if you want to come, register by the 29th. Next Tuesday, you get a discount. And we've already announced 8 site selectors are coming. Numerous other speeches you can see out there.
Perfect. Well, talk to y'all soon.